a Japanese girl who graduated from a third-rate school, can't find a job and can only sleep in an internet cafe at night. Do you know how agonizing her nightlife is? 9 p.m. Haruko, 23 years old this year, has another day without finding a job, can only continue to find an internet cafe to spend the night. No choice. This is the cheapest place to stay in Tokyo. 3,000 yen for 9 hours. Although price-wise, it still sounds a bit expensive, but you won't think so after watching. Because this type of internet cafe is not only designed as private small rooms, where personal privacy is protected, but also provides free drinks and comic books, very suitable for homeless people. Like Haruko. After entering her room, Haruko immediately turns on the air conditioning to cool her body down. After all, it doesn't cost extra money, so naturally, there's no need to save. After this, Haruko can use the computer to order a dinner to fill her stomach first, mainly because she went to several places for interviews all day and has been starving for a long time. Although the food prices in such internet cafes are usually more expensive than outside, but Haruko really doesn't have the energy to go out to eat. While waiting for the food to arrive, Haruko will first drink a bottle of beer bought outside to help herself relieve stress. Haruko has been out for 3 months and still hasn't found a satisfactory job. Now she can only live in internet cafes every day, because it can solve both food and accommodation problems, and there are public baths for showering. Various living facilities are also very complete. Additionally, there are free comic books and magazines to read. It's worth mentioning that Japanese internet cafes are also called manga cafes. Many young people like to stay overnight here, mostly just to read comics. Haruko is the same. After drinking, Haruko lies down to rest for a while. Her dinner is delivered, a portion of noodles and a bowl of curry rice. Although it looks like there isn't even a piece of meat. For Haruko, this is the most expensive food she can afford. Given her current financial situation, since graduating from university, Haruko came to Tokyo alone to make her way. However, because she attended a vocational school, the jobs she can find have very poor benefits. They are either server or hotel receptionist jobs. This type of school in Japan is not much different from our community colleges. The only difference is that they focus on cultivating students' practical operation abilities. Overall, it's more like a vocational school, even though Japanese society has very high recognition for vocational schools. Statistically, the employment rate can be as high as 95%. Just, for someone like Haruko who pursues money, coming to Tokyo means wanting an easy job with high income. How could she be willing to work 8 hours a day for a monthly income of only about 160,000 yen? After eating and drinking her fill, Haruko lies down and naps for a while. Seeing that she isn't very sleepy yet, and doesn't feel drowsy, she decides to go to the lounge area outside to read comic books to pass the time. Time flies, and it's already 2 a.m. It's about time for Haruko to sleep, mainly because she still needs to continue job hunting tomorrow. As for showering, she'll do it tomorrow, to find a job as soon as possible. Haruko wakes up early the next morning to catch the early train for an interview. Haruko's current living expenses rely entirely on the few tens of thousands of yen from her parents, allowing her to barely get by. How difficult it is to survive in the real society. Without academic qualifications or skills, it's hard to move forward in a big city. Fortunately, her mentality is still quite good. If it doesn't work today, then try again tomorrow. In short, there will be a day when she finds a suitable job. This is a day in the life of a Japanese girl. So, after watching this video, what are your thoughts on such a girl? A Japanese female gambling addict who stays home idle and doesn't work. Her whole day is just eating, sleeping, and playing the horses. Do you know how decadent a day can be? 11 a.m. Woo-jung's outside, 24 years old this year, slowly wakes up from bed. Akai is currently an unemployed person in Osaka. Since she doesn't need to catch a train to work on time, she can usually sleep as late as she wants. After getting up, Akai first stays in bed, spending half an hour on her phone researching today's horse racing data. Then she gets up to watch some TV. When she gets hungry, she goes to the kitchen to prepare lunch. Of course, considering her current living expenses rely entirely on the 150,000 yen from her parents, and to have more sufficient funds for horse racing, Akai is quite frugal in her daily diet, generally just eating enough to fill her stomach. For example, this morning it's a cup of coffee, and some bread, sausages, and greens. It looks relatively plentiful, but actually, everything was bought at a discount from the supermarket in the evening. The price is very cheap. After eating and drinking her fill, it's time for her to brush her teeth and wash up. Akai's current lifestyle is very monotonous. Basically, besides eating and sleeping, she spends all day immersed in the horse racing track. After finishing her personal chores, she puts on makeup and does her hair. Then, as per routine, takes 10,000 yen as principal and goes out to make money. In Japan, horse racing is a legal form of entertainment, and is loved by the vast majority of people. The way to play is also simple. Players can use various official information to analyze the ranking of each horse. If you guess correctly, you get a corresponding reward. However, this game not only tests skill, but also relies heavily on luck. And Akai usually loses money. Like today, after staying here most of the day, she only had 2,000 yen left to bring home. Fortunately, Akai isn't worried about this at all. She believes it's only temporary. Sooner or later, she will strike it rich. If it doesn't work this month, then she'll try again next month after getting her living expenses. Anyway, she already bought enough food at home to last until the end of the month without any problem. Akai returns home, changes clothes, then washes her hands and rinses her mouth to prevent bringing germs from outside. She then goes to the sofa in the living room to sit down, watch TV, and relax. Whenever she gets hungry, she then makes dinner. After graduating from university, Akai worked as a corporate slave for a few months. then decisively quit her job to choose a life of idleness. Mainly because working day and night overtime was something she really couldn't stand. Akai thinks that instead of working herself to death for a mere 300,000 yen monthly salary, which is just enough for rent and daily food, it's better to ask her parents for living expenses, find a rental place, idle away, and do nothing. 7 p.m. Akai casually makes some food to fill her stomach, then she turns on the computer to seriously study tomorrow's race schedule. The whole process lasts about 2 hours. Akai rarely goes out at night. Usually, after finishing her research, she exercises a bit, then showers and goes to sleep. It's worth mentioning that Akai didn't know about horse racing initially, but after becoming unemployed, she had too much free time. So she wanted to find a hobby to pass the time. Finally, she learned about horse racing and quickly became addicted. Regarding her current situation, Akai Yen openly states she is quite satisfied. Besides not having to work, and it being enough to sustain her life, she can also use the living expenses she scrimped and saved to gamble for a chance to get rich overnight. It's a double enjoyment for both body and soul. This is a day in the life of a Japanese female gambler. So, after watching this video, what are your thoughts on this kind of life? Feel free to leave a comment below. Japanese low-educated women who can't find work are forced to live in cheap slum hotels at night. Do you know how helpless their nightlife is? 7:30 p.m. Fukana Naoko, 23 years old this year, has just finished her last interview and comes to Nishinari Ward, Osaka's slum area, planning to find a cheap place to stay overnight. No choice, since she still hasn't found a job, which means she can't rent an apartment. Plus, she has little money left, so now she can only stay in some cheap hotels. Soon after, the girl enters a hotel, completes check-in procedures, and can go upstairs to find her room. It's worth mentioning that, although this hotel's overall decor doesn't look particularly shabby, because it's located in a slum, the surrounding environment is not only dirty and messy, but safety cannot be guaranteed either. So staying one night costs only 1,400 yen, about 70 Chinese yuan. In Japan, this is definitely a bargain price. However, the disadvantages are also very obvious. Besides the unpleasant musty smell, there are also small insects. People without some tolerance really can't adapt. Even though Naoko is also very afraid of insects, for her at this moment, having no money is the scariest thing. Compared to other hotels that cost tens of thousands of yen, this place suits Naoko's current spending level very well. Of course, no matter how cost-effective it is, there are basically very few tourists or office workers who choose to stay in such places. After all, many homeless people gather nearby, and there is a lot of night crime. For a young girl like Naoko, to take the risk to come here is also out of helplessness. Naoko enters the room, puts down her luggage first, then lies down to rest for a while. Soon she feels hungry, so she decides to go out to buy some food. Mainly because from morning until now today, she has only eaten one meal, and is already very hungry, considering the area is very dangerous at night. The girl doesn't dare to go too far after leaving the hotel. Finally, she can only find a ramen shop nearby, and just eat something simply. Another simple meal. Naoko has been in Osaka for almost half a month, but because she only attended a vocational school, she has no advantage in finding a job. Even if there are positions for her, the salary is relatively low. The highest is only 180,000 yen, but Naoko never loses heart. No matter what difficulties she encounters during the day, they all vanish after she eats her fill. After this, seeing it's still early, Naoko decides to go to the arcade next door to play a few games before returning. Regarding her current situation, Naoko says it's very awkward, stuck in the middle. She studied for 4 years at a vocational school, costing her family a lot in living expenses, but can't even find a decent job. This also makes Naoko feel for the first time the cruelty of real society. But currently, there's no better way. She can only take one step at a time. If today doesn't work, then wait and see tomorrow. There will be a day when she finds one. After playing for over an hour, the girl returns again to that room filled with unpleasant smells. Next, it's about time for her to run hot water for the bathtub and take a good bath to relax. There's nothing noteworthy about this process, so I'll kindly skip it for everyone. After finishing, it's time for the girl to sleep, because she still has interviews tomorrow. How can she manage without maintaining sufficient energy? She sleeps until 7 a.m. the next morning, and the girl wakes up on time. Then she brushes her teeth, and after washing up, tidies her hair a bit. Then she checks out and sets off on her job hunting journey again. This is the nightlife of a low-educated Japanese girl. So, after watching this video, what are your thoughts on this kind of life? Feel free to leave a comment below.